We are live. This is the market update. Aptos, Optimism, Bitcoin, alt season. What? Alt season, where altcoins really go up and Bitcoin could go up even more. In my opinion, that's going to start again in 2 to 3 days or less. So if the market gives you a dip, let's take advantage of it. Want to know more? Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. I've got my own YouTube channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live, and if the content works for you, hit the like button. One administrative note, we have heard you. We are working on this, and we are working to get it narrower. Right around 2:30 to 3 o'clock Eastern time is when we're going to be going live Monday through Friday. Somewhere in that time span, we're going to narrow down the exact number. But if you're out there, you're hearing this, that's the deal. We were traveling into strategic water reserve, so we had some odd timing. We appreciate you staying with us. This is about the time we're going to be streaming. So let's rock it. Let's say hello to who's here. AZ, first on the stream, followed by Bull Runner, Iron Alien. AZ giving me some big man love. We appreciate that. Greetings from Chile, Alexandria, and Boston. Ahmed, Nigeria. Alan, welcome. Samad, aloha. Right? Let's go. Willamette, East Tennessee. Big Rich, welcome to the show. The Netherlands, our friends in Europe are here. Okay? We got somebody in SEC country driving from Florida to Georgia. Rugby Performance Labs. Aruna is here. Mr. Moby Dick. Bitcoin Bit Freedom. Bitcoin to 25K at a minimum. At a minimum. Bitcoin's going way beyond 25. If Bitcoin goes to 25K, it's going way beyond that. Want to know more? Stay here. Phoenix, language trainer, right? Tugay from London. Welcome back. Our friends from Europe in the house. LFG NFA, couldn't agree more. Croatia, Pablo from Fort Worth. Wrong again wants pullback targets in ETH and Bitcoin. I got them. They're on the DeMark chart. Okay, language trainer, lots of Dutchies here. JP Stanley in the house. The sports hobbyist is back. Welcome. Kansas City, Missouri in the house. Okay, I'm going straight into the news. Just in case you think there's no fraud in legacy and, oh my God, crypto is terrible because of all this terrible fraud that's out there, there's a tweet here and a report from a group called Hindenburg Research, which is pretty funny. That's a blimp that blew up. Today, we reveal the findings of a 2-year investigation that there's a $218 billion company in India engaged in brazen stock manipulation and accounting fraud. As I've said, every 20 years, you get these accounting scandals. It's not just crypto. But what it does do is it addicts people to negative news. Now, this is obviously a very big story, but people are hooked on negative news, which, of course, is bullish for crypto for 2 reasons. 1, everyone's too bearish. 2, crypto is in the disbelief stage coming off of a bottom, exactly like 2019. And the more bearish people are, the more hope the freedom of crypto can provide. Negative news is good news, in my opinion. Now, this will give you some comedy. Goldman says 4 U.S. cities will suffer a 2008 crash in home values. And one of those cities happens to be Austin, Texas. Now, I live in Austin, Texas. I've been in this area for 20 years. I know that may sound hard to believe. I went to business school at the University of Texas in between 2000 and 2002. Although, you know, I never lost a Jersey accent because, as anybody from that area knows, that accent is permanent. Now, why would houses go down in Austin, Texas? Well, rates are up. Prices went parabolic. Silicon Valley was moving in and people just gave up and capitulated and paid massively higher prices for everything from houses to rents, etc. So let's discuss the addiction to bad news. Now, housing prices in Austin are going down. Housing is totally unaffordable nationwide, right? The Fed knows that they've already done enough tightening to correct housing. They don't need to do any more. But they may not agree with that. But the market already knows. Now, back to crypto. How addicted are people to bad news? Okay, let's have a laugh. The 50-year-old analyst is on TikTok. And sometimes I do pretty good on TikTok. Like, for example, nobody thought I did a piece called Fed Rate Hikes Over. Everyone laughed me out of the building. And the next thing I know, it's got 102,000 views. Okay. So when it catches on that the Fed is done hiking rates, trust me, the price action is going to hit the market. This is a good leading indicator for TikTok. Now, Austin housing crash. So I saw the article about Goldman, and I did this TikTok this morning, and it got 27K views. Now, yesterday, when I'm doing BTFD and crypto, I only got 573 views. Good news, 573. Bad news, next crash, 27K. People are too bearish. They're too bearish. Still. Speaking of stocks, corruption, and comedy, okay, a congressman introduces something called the Pelosi Act to ban lawmakers from trading stocks. A lot of people don't know this, but it's been perfectly legal for congressmen who have deals about defense contracts, all kinds of inside information on how the government deals with the private sector, to just trade off of that. That's been going on for years. I mean, Nancy Pelosi is a gunslinging options trader. Goldman Sachs ranks Bitcoin as the best performing asset of 2023. It's kind of funny. It's almost like it sounds like Goldman's putting its official stamp as if we didn't know Bitcoin was up 40% more than anything else. However, this is not exactly the New York Times that this is being published in. Meanwhile, EU vows to allow banks to hold 2% of capital in Bitcoin and crypto. The European Union continues to push hard for clear regulations on the crypto industry. So, again, I think it sounds a little bit like FUD because the regulators are, I think from this article, worried about it. Speaking of worry, Visa working on a number of CBDC and stablecoin initiatives. Don't you love how things change? 1 minute, Visa is putting a CryptoPunk on its balance sheet. The next minute, they're working on CBDC. So when the market's going up, I want a CryptoPunk. When the market's down, oh, only the government should do crypto. Yeah, we should do crypto with the government. Are you crazy? Why? So they can shut off your bank account, tell you have to spend the money in your account or you'll lose it? Or use it to locate you, lock you out of your apartment, or whatever it is they can do with the wallet that will undoubtedly be connected to your phone? UK Treasury is looking for CBDC as it explores the digital pound. Because after all, after FTX, only the government should be able to do crypto. No, after FTX, freedom is more important than ever. Just because one group of people were stupid, they were able to be stupid because of government policy error from printing too much money. Now everyone is turning to centralized government authority in crypto, and people somehow think that's a good idea. Microsoft to face EU antitrust probe. Web 2 in trouble. In trouble. Meanwhile, in a state where they're having water problems, Arizona senator introduces a bill to make Bitcoin legal tender in the state. Interesting, don't you think, how these sort of like right-leaning states in America, right? Texas introduced a bill to allow, government-run funds to be able to buy Bitcoin, and now Arizona wants to take it as legal tender. The federal government in the United States over the last 3 years has been totally inept. And the ineptitude at the Fed goes back through multiple administrations. Most recently, the executive and congressional branches have joined the party. Really, the ineptitude has come from the Fed, and people are sick of it. Speaking of Arizona, judge to Arizona community, water is not required to flow from Scottsdale. Drought forces Rio Verde foothills to seek alternative sources for water. Scarcity and running out of commodities and using a blockchain solution to sort that out, wouldn't that be nice? California drought puts a spotlight on a $7.5 billion acquisition where the equity market is starting to trade and investment bankers are starting to trade water companies. Meanwhile, the company that I work for and I own this token, Gold Retriever, is going to price water and move water from Greenland, where the company I work for has licenses to get water from Greenland out and sell it to people using this as the medium of exchange, the BARC token. You can get BARC. The only way to buy BARC is to first buy GLDN on Uniswap. That will be the native token of our eventual commodity DEX, and then buy water. This currently trades at 11 cents. So BARC will be used as a way to buy and distribute water. To put it more positive, if you want to invest in water and water infrastructure, not investment advice, but BARC provides a way to do that. It's currently trading at 11 cents and a very small market cap. And last I looked on this news article, this is a really, really big problem in Arizona. Now, this brings us to the next level of the market update, which is there's big cap, large cap, and sector rotation going on in crypto. BARC is more on the low cap value side, where you just sort of wake up one day and it goes. Now we're going to go PowerPoint, and we're going to talk about the overall market and why this thing can go much, much higher, much quicker than anyone thinks. And today's a dip day. So last live stream, we were like, hey, buy on red. Red days are good. When am I going to stop saying that? When the market proves me wrong. They haven't proved me wrong yet. Yesterday was a red day, and we'll see if I'm right. We're going to start with a little trivia. In the stock market loves, seasonal analysis, like the January effect. If the market's up in January, whatever it does in January, it does for the rest of the year. They love things like the Santa rally. They love sell in May and go away. They love Rectember and Rocktober. I kind of made that up. But equity market seasonals, they love their trivia. Now, check this out. If you look between 1932 and 2022, you look at a president's term in America, which is 4 years. These are returns in the stock market from October of the second year to April 30th of the third year. So right now, based on when Joe Biden was elected, we are in this sweet spot where equities actually do incredibly well. Matter of fact, if you look at a president's term, most of all positive returns comes during this year 2, year 3 period. And most of the other times, stocks do nothing. Now, in this case, why don't we substitute? This comes from GMO, by the way, which is like literally the smartest investing fund out there, period, bar none. GMO is saying risk assets do really well during this period in the presidential cycle. Wouldn't that be funny if history didn't repeat, but it rhymed and equities just merely held their ground? And crypto smoked higher all through February with a hiccup in March, or all through April and May, maybe with a hiccup in February. I don't know which. Or how about we just get crazy and say Bitcoin is just going to completely reprice itself to 35K, and then altcoins are going to rally until September. They're just going to go up until September. I'm like, hey, Bill, you were kind of crazy bullish the last 2 live streams. Yeah, let's get more crazy. Like I said, carry me out. Let's check the charts. Bitcoin dominance. So let's start with something basic. How high and how hard can Bitcoin go up? So we had to start with Bitcoin. It's like, okay, we had a little bit of a rally. Everybody thinks it's over. Nobody thinks they can buy it. Everyone's in disbelief. You've heard all about this on prior live streams. Look at Bitcoin dominance, right? It was at 72, and then it went to 35, and it's been sitting down there at 35 for a while. And it looks like bigger the base, the higher in the space. Okay. And if Bitcoin smokes to the upside, Bitcoin dominance will also smoke to the upside. So if you look at this chart, Bitcoin dominance could go up. And I think you could be looking at 30% gains in Bitcoin from here. Now, wrong again is saying what has changed in your outlook in the last 2 days? Absolutely nothing. Nothing, right? If it's a dip, I say grab it. The only thing that's changed is I think Bitcoin can go a lot higher now, and altcoins are going to follow like with a vengeance once the full Bitcoin re-rating is done. I was thinking 25 to 29. I think that's very likely. I think something shocking over 30 is possible. And if Bitcoin does something like that, altcoins could follow for months. That's the only thing that's changed. Wolf of Crypto is here, right? Sleazy Migs, hello. Okay. Total crypto market cap on a weekly basis. So there's a dip. You're worried. When in doubt, zoom out. High Ken. Total crypto market cap, which again is just that, everything including Bitcoin, from the COVID lows to the 2021 highs, the 76% retracement was 811 billion. And if you look at this, is crypto gone up a lot? No, it hasn't at all. If you look at total 2, which is total crypto market cap without Bitcoin, you see this massive group of unconfirmed new lows, right? You see stochastics rising. And if this thing ever caught fire, if ETH, Solana, and Web3 ever caught fire, this has got huge upside, I think. I mean, like all the way up, all the way back down, these white lines here indicate hidden pivot support. Namely, the bear market ran its course. Talking to somebody this morning, talking about, crypto winter sucks. Yeah, it does suck. But too many people continue to talk about crypto winter, and bad news is so much more popular than good news. Nobody wants to hear any good news. Altcoins, total 3, same situation. Massive lower lows in market cap all through last year on a weekly chart, higher lows in stochastics, and going the other way. I mean, there's absolutely no reason. It's just like, you do not need a chart book for this. There's absolutely no reason why this huge downtrend cannot correct half of it. Just like this huge uptrend, they retraced 3/4 of it. How high does this go? Even before you get back to the 62% retracement level. That's kind of like what a normal retracement would have been not for FTX and Celsius. Pancakes and peanut butter in the house. Welcome. Okay, Mr. Khan says, I am new to crypto and have started listening to you to understand where to invest. Well, sir, welcome to crypto. Welcome to the market update. Right? The best thing you can do is start with the basics. Start by putting a very small amount of money into something like a large cap crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum so you can begin to understand how they move. If you watch your own money move around and then you listen to, whatever research you'd like to consume, we'd love it if you consume mine, then you learn. All you have to do is put 50 or $100 in and you're in business. And even if you don't have that, whatever it is you put in, you watch the volatility, trust me, you will start learning quickly. Wrong again says this pullback has been lame, hard to redeploy. You're right, it has been. We're going to go into that in a minute. Language trainer, Russian response to US and European tanks could be the dip in legacy and crypto we are anticipating. It could be, and the dip could be today. Like I said, I did a short on the Ukraine tank situation. The Russians have thousands of tanks. We do a token news headline. We're sending 20 over there. We've sent a lot more than 20 tanks to Ukraine. Okay. If we wanted to escalate the situation, we'd send 200 tanks with U.S. soldiers in it to fight these guys. Right? Giving weapons to the Ukraine is not an escalation. It's dragging it out. That's my opinion. But geopolitical uncertainty can create dips, which in crypto are good. They're good because crypto is getting repriced. Now, Ethereum on an 8-hour chart. So crypto ETH retraced 23% of the move off the lows. That's good. Normally, if it holds the 23% retracement, that can be a sign of significant market strength. Okay, I believe 1538 is the point where there is support. The good news about the dip is you can redraw the hidden pivot structures. So 1600 didn't act as support. Fine. No problem. We wanted a dip. Now, it's either going to dip back to 1449, which is not labeled here, or it's going to take out 1642. And if that happens, it can move to 2038. And if you look at the total crypto market cap charts and you consider, based on presidential election seasonals, that this is supposed to be a bullish period for risk assets, psychologically, analytically, I'm interested in crypto on the dip. Bitcoin, 8-hour chart. 23K is resistance. The stochastics picture on the intraday chart is not perfect, so I'm not blindly bullish, but this is what I'm telling you. This structure should create some sort of correction in Bitcoin. Now, if it doesn't create a correction in Bitcoin and the oversold condition just gradually relieves itself, or if it just turns around and defies it, then you know some is going on in Bitcoin and it's the real deal. Because what I'm trying to say is there's evidence that the dip should be bigger than it is. And as someone has already noted, it's annoying because you don't get the kind of dips you want, which is classic in a bull market in the disbelief phase. People think they're going to be able to buy it at much lower prices, and that's not what happened. And if you're wondering about Optimism, right, and Aptos, that's what happens when you fight it or you think you're going to get a dip. You don't. It's a case study. And shorts were shorting it and fighting it. Those charts coming up soon. Up, here it is on cue. Optimism, right? Okay, so this has got a great fundamental story in terms of making ETH scale and work better, as I understand it. Optimism support at 207. They run the stops. They make everybody think it's no good. Now they're probably going to take it to 261. You know, it doesn't have to be fancy. I think this is on all the major exchanges. Okay. Wrong again says, do you think we're going lower? We didn't get the blow off top. Why would we get a deep sell off bottom? Right. I think we're on the same page. In other words, we never really got an epic 20% God candle in Bitcoin. We did get it. This is not over on the upside until you get it. Now, Optimism and Aptos are telling you what it looks like when you have a blow off top. Getting some love from Jeff. Appreciate that. Avalanche support at $17.20 up to 22. Aptos, as I understand it, is a Solana killer. So everyone is buying the Solana killer. That's fine. I'm all about it. But I don't think I would count out Solana or Avalanche because it's still Web3. It's still Web3. Right? It's just that people are fighting and getting invested in the stuff that has a good story and no one owns it. And if it continues to trade like this, it's more evidence that no one owns it. Here's Aptos on an 8-hour chart. Okay, so this is already getting hard to chart. Just absolutely ripping. I draw this hidden pivot structure. Okay, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, you know, this might be overdone. Maybe you take profits. I get it. Some guy was on the premium webinar for Gold Retriever. I was like, yeah, I'm going to take my money. That might make sense. You take money and you rotate it in somewhere else where it hasn't mooned yet. That said, you know, earlier yesterday, or even today, people are paying a premium on derivatives exchanges to try to get short this stuff. And they're getting carried out. When traders miss moves, the first instinct is to fight it, is to say, oh, it's not a trend, or don't FOMO, or don't buy a dip, or get shorted and buy it back later. No. I have been adamantly against that and adamantly arguing for a much stronger than expected uptrend. And of course, like all bull markets, we mentioned Aptos, we mentioned Optimism, particularly Optimism. But again, this shocking price action is going to permeate the whole market. It starts with one or two things people hate, like Aptos, and then it spreads, right? Everyone's going to get caught sleeping again in Bitcoin. In other words, 23K is the new 18K. Let me say that again. 23K is the new 18K. People are going to be left sleeping. Why is DOT left behind? Well, it hasn't been left behind. It's awaiting a sector rotation. Because what happens is when you're coming off like a depression anger phase in a bear market that's so severe, and then you turn around and go to a bull market, even though we're happy the bull market's here, because we were all over it, most other people are not. So people are like, oh, well, I got burned in Polkadot, therefore I'm not going to, or whatever the story is. And eventually, money that's made from the initial wave up either makes its money into other good stories, or you get something insane where Bitcoin acts like Aptos, and then after Bitcoin goes above 30, then the entire Web3 space ignites and retraces a large part of last year's decline. Okay, RNDR, metaverse, right? So here's the base. This is like Bitcoin dominance, right? Here's the base. Here's the takeoff. Okay, RNDR bottomed around 40 cents, and resistance is probably at $1.58. Do not underestimate what can happen in the metaverse. NFTs are next. They're next. And that is the PowerPoint market update. Okay, our feelings about Tesla earnings. Tesla earnings, Tesla has changed to the point where, you know, it's not overpriced. It's worth about as much as the other automakers, as I understand it. So Tesla can now be a reflection of what people think about Musk, Twitter, risk assets. And again, once his earnings are out, I'm dying to see the crypto announcement that comes off that. I'm waiting for Musk to go, okay, here I go. I'm getting into crypto. Okay. Jazz Gill is asking about Super Farm. I can take a look at that. Let me go live TA on Bitcoin and Ethereum because I think the DeMark work is interesting. Okay. All right. Somebody's here. Big fan. We appreciate that. Looking at Algorand. Let me share the screen and get some live TA going here on Bitcoin and Ethereum with DeMark. Okay. ETH 90 minutes. Plenty of evidence to suggest, using Elliott Wave, the DeMark Elliott Wave tool, that this whole run-up was wave one. And this decline, which ended, I don't know, earlier this morning, U.S. time, like in the middle of the night, that was wave two. So all the way up, everybody gets stopped out who jumped in late. It hits support. It trades like shit. And then, boom, it goes. Okay. Look at the stochastic pictures. DeMark has a special type of proactive stochastic. That's what I kind of call it. So up here, the oscillator was beeping. Watch out. 13 top, correction. Now it goes down. Oscillator beeping. Watch out. New high coming. It's kind of that simple. Major moving average holding on Ethereum on the 240-minute chart. Notice how DeMark work will count, say, 1 through 9, like the high is higher than the high 2 days ago. Then it'll get a little number. In DeMark work, when you count 1 through 9, that's the first part of a trend. Notice all of the price action in Ethereum since 1400, a trend has not started according to DeMark work. Now, maybe this starts slowly. Maybe it trades like shit and scares people by going up and then back. I'm okay with that. I'm just fine with that. Bitcoin, same thing, right? Look at this. So, yeah, it's a small range, but 22,500. I mean, they went down here once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. They tried to pound Bitcoin below 22,500, and did it work? Nope. Nope. And check this out. Everybody is selling and taking profits because you can see this wick on the 4-hour candlestick. Everybody is like, oh, I made a little money in Bitcoin. I'm out. Everyone's running scared. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. Okay, let's go to the daily chart. So in Ethereum, you never did get the 13 top on the daily chart, which leads me to believe you can actually get one more big new high before there's any even sort of like multi-day pause. Okay, Bitcoin, you have the 13 top, but it's not backing off. It's not backing off. So could there be a decline in Bitcoin? Yes. How many times did they take it down to 22,500? They can't break 22.5, and the 13 top is not creating a decline. It's not. So if it does, it's a dip. But again, right? Okay, let's try a weekly chart. Just something to remember. In DeMark work, you'll get like a 13 bottom, and then it'll start going the other way. Usually get 1, 2, 3, and then on the 4, there's a dip, right? So there's probably going to be 5 more up weeks, and this is your dip week. Not investment advice. This is the dip week. See if I can get Bitcoin weekly up here. Now, in Bitcoin, that's your dip. Your dip right now is sideways. No one's going to sell Bitcoin. No one. Crypto represents freedom. There are too many problems out there with fiat currencies, governments, housing. The Fed comes out and hikes rates. They guarantee a blow up somewhere in the bond market or in housing. It's guaranteed. And when you erode when you hurt housing, you hurt the middle class in the United States that's already getting destroyed by the price of things like eggs. And I'm not sure if you've noticed, but oil is on the move. So, you know, the more the Fed tightens, the more they break it. The more they break it, the more they're going to have to back off when the time comes. And the free market alternative to government stupidity is crypto. Period. Period. Okay. Can I comment on Raydium? Okay. Okay, so assuming I've got the right crypto here. So this is an altcoin that's down a lot, if I've got the right thing here. Okay, Manuel giving me some love. Appreciate that. All right. Now, one of the things that you have in small altcoins is that when you get these rallies, the question is, do they give you a sustained break of resistance? This one did not. This is the daily chart. So let me just label this so we all know what I'm looking at. The good news about this is that if it ever actually did break above this resistance at 29 cents, This gap up here could get filled. This is actually a good point to bring up about stocks and gold. Gaps get filled. Gaps get filled. And there were probably a lot of gaps on the way down. Somebody talking about Tesla earnings. I'm hoping the equity market takes a look at Tesla's earnings and goes, the bad news is out. Okay, Village Cooking is asking, if you bought Bitcoin in the bull run with fiat from a dozen or so countries, you'd still be in the money in fiat terms due to runaway inflation. Good point. Good point. Okay, Wolf of Crypto, privacy sector interests, please. Okay, the best looking chart, if I still have it, I believe is Monero. See if I can pull that up on DeMark. The Monero chart looks really good to me. Okay, so on a weekly basis, since Monero has done well, maybe you got one more up week. Okay, I don't see any sign of a top here. You could have 5 or 6 more up days in Monero. Let me see if I can pull it up over here. I think if Monero is above 175, 230 is possible. Okay, I'm going to label this. This is Monero Daily. In other words, I think it would be a natural thought process to think, okay, I can just sort of go to sleep on crypto because we're in a corrective phase. But look at this. Aptos up 40%. Optimism up 23%. Bitcoin and Ethereum were down when we started the stream. Now they're up 1%. You get in front of this market, you're going to get killed. Meaning if you try to short it. Okay, Zcash. Let's see what we got on Zcash on DeMark. Speaking of privacy coins, right? Because Zcash is going to move with Bitcoin. So one of the things I was just wondering is if Bitcoin went crazy, right, and you had 25K minimum, like minimum. If you re-rate Bitcoin, Zcash should be at 70. Zcash was at 70 in August of last year. That was after Celsius. After Celsius, but before FTX, Zcash was at 70. And one of the things that you should be learning from this CBDC stuff is that privacy matters. So CBDCs make a great headline because, as we noted earlier, okay, only the government can do crypto now because of SBF. Well, okay, whatever. I would say the government is having trouble minding its own business and providing services to citizens. How about water? Than they do worrying about, whether or not a private citizen can buy an NFT without the whole world knowing about it. Or if you're going to go into metaverse and buy something, whether or not the whole world will be able to see it. How are you going to do a transaction in the metaverse without privacy? I don't get it. Are we saying you're going to go to Macy's? All right. You're going to go to a department store and somebody who, they're going to see your wallet address, or you're going to do a transaction with them and people are going to be able to track people. The person behind the counter at Macy's will know how much money you have. That's crazy. You got to have privacy. Okay. Somebody's asking UFO gaming. South by Southwest Music Festival in Austin is coming up March 10th through the 19th, and they're going to have a metaverse gaming section to that. Possibly an interesting catalyst. Okay. So UFO was destroyed. It came back. And now we're going to see if the old ceiling is now the floor. Like this is kind of where UFO started the final climax down, right? In other words, if you look at this here and here, okay, UFO breaks that level and then comes in and retests. This is a daily chart. I'm not selling the dip. I'm buying the dip. Okay. Also of note in UFO, see this Williams oscillator? May be hard to see on TV. Okay. You can't see it, and that's the point. It's very close to zero, which means you could be headed for a big move in UFO. And I'm telling you right now, like just go to the weekly chart. I mean, I know this point's been made, but like when you look at the destruction in some of these coins, right? I mean, it's like you can't even put it on the chart. Now, whatever made these things interesting on the way up, their themes can reemerge. And as I've noted time and again, and will continue to note, the point where everybody gives up on major themes is the point at which they start working. Hey, Spin is here. Welcome. Big Rich is asking, what about Litecoin? Will it reprice higher? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I was talking to my boss, and he's like, there's a reason why Litecoin is still around. There's a reason why, you know, there is a reason why the Litecoins of the world exist. Because the world may be looking for an alternative way to pay for things. Okay, so this to me looks like your classic how about teacup and handle? Okay, here's your teacup. Here's your handle. And your projected upside target would be like this. Okay, let's try that again. Start here, move up. 122, which, by the way, doesn't even get you back to where it was before sell in May and go away before Celsius. 133 is up here. Currently at 89. The target looks like 122. By the way, looks simple, right? Look at this handle. Now, I'm always telling you with teacup and handle that handles are awful. This is tax loss selling. December 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. This thing went from 80 to 60 in 4 days. So everybody who saw this rounding bottom didn't see this coming. They got caught, and these handles, they can be awful. It's not a perfect formation, but it never really is. The ones that work are the ones that are not perfect. Not perfect. Okay, Jeff is a big fan of GLDN and BARC. Arizona judge says we are not required to give you water. We are not required to give you water. Okay. Mr. Moby Dick 666, Litecoin halving in 6 months. Okay. Litecoin halving in 6 months. Let's take a look at a couple. Oh, we had Algorand. So there's now there's like a new set of like big boy altcoins. This is probably one of them. By the way, while I'm pulling this chart up, I signed up today for improv comedy lessons. Gonna see if I can put that on the channel or at a minimum on Instagram if I'm any good at it. A little personal trivia there. Okay. So Algorand, the downtrend was so bad in November and December that Algorand rallied from 16 cents to 24 cents just to get back to the 23% retracement of the down move. You would have a massive up-only rally just to retrace a teeny-weeny portion of that decline. In my opinion, you know, I've done like the Elliott wave Gore on all these things. You know what? I woke up today and goes, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. Okay. How about all these coins retrace the tax loss selling and or the FTX debacle from last year, which puts Algorand at 45 cents. So James Stewart said, yes, and sorry. Yeah, the improv comedy thing was random. I'm just wondering if there's a way to deliver crypto alpha in an entertaining format where it could be like in snippets. You know, if that thing sounds interesting or if it sounds totally ridiculous, feel free to let us know. There's so much comedy in crypto. However, most of that comedy is not funny because it's people getting twisted around, but perhaps we can add a little humor to it in addition to the alpha. Okay, this is ZCX. Okay, you're watching me try to find an interesting trend line. It's a subjective experience. Okay, so this particular trend line has stopped the market multiple times. There's a group over here. There's a group over here. There's a group over here. So this is ZCX. ZCX. And I can use it as a teaching point because here's the deal, right? Everyone knows this trend line is here. Okay. It got stoned at the trend line, I don't know, for like the 6th time. But here's the trick. If this thing ever goes through this trend line, it's going to explode. I don't even know what it is. I do know that when something pounds on resistance and pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds, and it doesn't come off, when it eventually goes through, it just smokes higher. Okay. Nitin is asking, are all low cap layer ones dead? Many lack adoption. I don't think they're all dead. Secret Network has an interesting value proposition, and no one's looking at it. It's like go to a weekly chart. Now let's go to adoption and whether or not something is useful. People are going to chase things that people don't own. No one owns Aptos. So layer ones are going to take a backseat to Aptos, you know, Solana and Avalanche. Ironically, the thing that's taken the biggest backseat, it's not even the low cap layer ones, it's ETH. Because for whatever reason, every time somebody says Ethereum, they see the SEC making all of crypto illegal, and that's ridiculous. Like, Bitcoin is so absurdly underpriced that Bitcoin is going to re-rate itself, and then ETH is going to show up with the vengeance. The way you do the small cap layer ones is that anything that follows ETH is something that you should pick up on. Like, anything that follows ETH is something you should pick up on. Okay, Richard Barry likes the contrarian thinking. I appreciate that. Okay, Big Rich is enjoying the stream. Someone's asking about Engine Coin. Driftless is in secret. Definitely agree with this. There's got to be a privacy narrative. And hey, man, it could be layer ones. Okay, so again, here's secret. Secret comes off. You have a negative divergence, and people are still buying the dip. So if it defies this divergence, it can make a new high, and these stochastics can correct themselves. The alternative is there's going to be another dip, and ironically, I'm okay with that either way. Okay, Zcash I covered already. I think 70 is possible, particularly if it follows Bitcoin. Wrong again agrees that the ETH trade is going to happen. Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more things. Oh, I forgot about Cardano. So here's Cardano on a daily chart. I'm sorry, on a 4-hour chart. Okay, Cardano comes to support at 35 cents. It couldn't get to resistance at 39, which means if it goes back up there, it's going to go right through it and go to 45. I'm sorry. Like, this has got a lot more upside. And QNT just is a gift that keeps on giving, right? It came off today after making an emotional new high up to 161. I'm showing much higher prices, and frequently when you see these kind of dips, like with the way QNT has been trading, so let's label this so people can sort of get a visual of what it's like to have to be quick on the draw in bull markets on dips, right? So this is a bigger dip in QNT where it went from 145 to 124. Actually, let's do this on a daily chart. Okay, how many days do you get to buy a dip in a strong uptrend? Okay. So QNT goes up, you get one nasty down day. And I call that a relief drop because everyone's like, oh my God, I missed it, I missed it, I missed it. Then it comes back down. And then people will say, okay, I can relax. I'll wait. I'll buy it lower. It goes down the next day and it comes straight back. Like when QNT goes down, how long does it go down for? A day? Now, sometimes you get these wicks off the highs. Okay. So I'm not saying it's not down ticking, and I'm not saying people don't sell. They do. But like here, yesterday, there was a big wick up. They sold, and it doesn't go down. It doesn't go down. It's like in crypto, it's almost like there's no supply. There's no supply of the top coins. Flow, NFTs. Remember this? No one is talking about NFTs. Nobody. Hence my incredible need to talk about NFTs and NFT plays. Okay, so yeah, it did stop here at $1.20. Yes, it's got a huge rally off the low. Most important lesson from this chart is that the entire tax loss selling give up trade in flow was unwound. All of it. And all these altcoins may follow, and I think the entire FTX trade is going to get unwound, which would put flow at almost $2. mean, if you just, let's pretend this is anything. You jumped into one of these things and put in a 5% stop, like, okay, maybe in flow, if you look at the daily candlesticks, like if you waited for a big down move and put a 5% stop in, you might have gotten stopped here. But if you wait for these big down moves and then jump in with a 5% stop, let them come take you out. Let them come take you out. Right? Let them come take you out. All right. Let's see if I can find Flare or Songbird. Okay, so no price action in this to think of. But hey, maybe that's what makes it interesting. Because after all, whatever this is SGB. It has gone all the way back to where it started from. It's another theme in things like Tesla and other legacy instruments. Everything has retraced back to its COVID low. Let me put Tesla up just to drive it home. Tesla went all the way back to where it was in August of 2020. And in Tesla, on a weekly chart, you have a gap at 248 from September. So if there's a seasonal bullish period in equities, or the seasonal bullish period shows up a little later than expected, like in July, okay, legacy disbelief. Disbelief in the bottom. I think if there's disbelief, it's in like QQQ. You know, I know that I say Web 2 sucks. Web 2 does suck and it has problems. You're going to make much more money in Web 3. But in equity market terms, I think a lot of people gave up on this. This is QQQ weekly. In other words, there are a lot of stocks that are cheap. Those are called value stocks, and those stocks are cheap. And I'm starting to wonder if some of these technology stocks, right, or this technology or speculative sectors in general can't experience a little bit of a renaissance. In other words, do you want to be bearish down here? Isn't everyone bearish down here? In NASDAQ 100? Sorry, this is not QQQ. This is NDX. Isn't everyone bearish? Somebody's looking at Matic. Let's take a look. Boy, did they like to pick on these things. They were after this something terrible. I really did think that some of these guys on Twitter were going to wreck this thing. Like they were after the founder by first name, you know, and that's fine. You know, short sellers, you know, wolves versus projects. You know, we've seen that. It's cool. Nobody's really interested in buying Matic above $1. Let's take a look at the DeMark, see what we can get out of that. Sometimes I think looking at the weekly is useful. I mean, again, people, 13 bottom. This is only like number 3 of 9. This may be your dip week. I mean, if this is a dip in Matic, Matic's going to $1.50. Megan is here. Megan, welcome back. Okay, Donato is talking about Opulus, a music fungible tokens. I saw audio go up a lot. That was impressive. And of course, there's XRP, which no one wants to talk about, which is why I want to talk about it. I think I've said that before. 44 cents XRP, 240-minute, 4-hour chart. No sign of a top. Overbought condition relieved. And on the weekly chart, no one wants to buy. No one wants to buy it. Every time it goes up, everyone sells Meanwhile, you know, XRP, if you look at this like moving average band that I drew, like XRP never really should have been below 35 cents. Right? Every time they tried to keep it below 40 cents, they couldn't keep it down there. So if they can't push it down, where's it going? Up. I mean, they were leaning on XRP since May. Don't see any reason why this can't go to 66 cents. Okay. So I'm gonna wrap it up right there. Here's the deal. Be active on dips. Be active on dips until proven wrong. One thing that I noticed when I'm doing my work in crypto this morning is that you may not get many dips. And what's going on with Optimism and Aptos are what happens when people are asleep and don't have any urgency about just experimenting on dips. Optimism and Aptos are telling you what can happen to the rest of the crypto market. Matthias thanks me for my positivity, and I thank you for tuning in. This is Bill Noble. I will see you next time.